Hi, I'm Jennifer Ferrante, and I'm a clinical hypnotherapist and neurocomplex coach. I help gifted and sensitive people reclaim their intuition, regulate their nervous system, and remember the truth of who they are. My personal awakening didn't happen all at once. It really slowly unfolded over my life. As a child, I was deeply connected to God, and I grew up in a very fundamentalist Christian household. My grandmother used to tell all of her friends, if you want something to happen, have Jenny pray for it. She's a prayer warrior. And often the things that we would pray about and intend for, I would see happen. And I felt very connected to the Holy Spirit. I received intuitive insight, inner guidance, and I felt the guidance of God as something very real and alive in my body. And for many years, that connection shaped how I saw the world. But then around the age of 35, I had this slow unraveling of everything that I thought that I believed. And it started actually with reading a book series. The book series Divergent had a faction in the plot, and this faction called the Abnegation faction kind of held the secrets of the community, and they really guarded the truths from the community because they felt like it would benefit the whole by withholding the truth of how they became. And so they were willing to put forward a lie and even die for that lie for the good of the whole and the harmony of the world, or at least their portion of the world. And that really got me thinking, and it started to kind of crack open my certainty because I realized that over the years, a lot of the questions I had asked and things that didn't seem to fit to me weren't responded well to. It was just kind of brushed under the rug, and everything was kind of to favor faith over truth and knowledge. And so while I didn't throw everything away, I kind of stripped back all of my beliefs for a while down to just what I could observe in nature and what I felt intuitively as like inner knowing. And I started piecing those beliefs back in again and creating this more expansive framework that I saw the world from. At the time, I was studying botany, and I was kind of rereading the Bible through the lens of taxonomy and really noticing in creation, in the account in Genesis, the contrast that was created and how it describes the world coming into being through this contrast and duality. And that's when I kind of started studying polarity and duality and what we could see and observe in the natural world. And so I began to understand God not as this distant figure, but as the intelligence within all the patterns of life itself. Around that time, I started studying herbalism, and I studied with master herbalist Saja Popham at the Evolutionary School of Herbalism, and I was certified to become a vitalist herbal practitioner. I began that herbal work and started supporting women with infertility. That was my main focus, and did this for many years before I had a session that just changed my life and the way that I thought about healing and belief and energy. And that was when I was working with a woman who was struggling with infertility, and she told me, I will never drink or eat all of these herbs, but I really believe that if you would just, touch me, I could become pregnant. And at the time, that sounded so far out there, but I also just had this deep knowing that if that was really what she believed would help her to become pregnant, it probably would. And so in that session, I laid my hands on her belly and I intended for her. I sent the energetic, the feeling of fertility, and I have 7 children, so I know that feeling very well. I can channel that feeling of fertility, and I moved and intended that for her in that moment, and she did become pregnant, and that experience started this whole growth and learning process where then I went and became a certified Reiki master to be able to really understand and work with energy. And then after that, I went to college at the HMI, College of Hypnotherapy, and got a diploma in clinical hypnotherapy because I wanted to be able to access, coming at any issues from the level of the mind, the energy, the spirit, and the body. And with that training, I felt like that was a good comprehensive way of being able to address all of those different doors to access what might be keeping people stuck. Through this course of study, I developed a real interest and kind of niche of working with the neurodivergent population because being neurocomplex myself, having neurodivergent children, realizing that their wiring and their brain patterning and their energy is so different than kind of how the world and the environment is set up, quickly became the clients that I most enjoyed working with was those who were just, they felt like too much or not enough, like they just didn't fit. They were having these big awakenings because they sensed things on an intuitive, extrasensory level that, on one hand, was a great gift and gave great insight and access to a whole realm that most people don't have access to, but it could also be very overwhelming, overstimulating. And there's a lot of tools and nervous system work that can help with making that whole experience feel more comfortable, feel more validated. And I really love the work that I do today. In my practice, I blend clinical hypnotherapy, intuitive guidance, sensory work, extrasensory development to help people shift their subconscious beliefs, regulate to their sensory experience, and really reconnect with their core essence. And that's what I would love to be on the journey with you for.